welcome back to Hawk Talk. Last week we were snowed out just like a lot of things around the Dickinson community, but we're back with you. And since that snow, we've had a lot of basketball games, and Coach Wetzel's here to join us to talk about them. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, we'll date it back to Thanksgiving weekend. Had a home contest against Johnson and Wales. Kind of just take us through a tale of two halves, it seemed like.
Yeah, you alluded to it. Definitely a tale of two halves. The first half, I got to credit them, and they came out and played well. They have two players that I think could play for any team in our league, and those two guys kept them in it offensively. And we did not play very well that first half. Again, I don't want to take too much away from them, but in the second half, and that's been a little bit of our MO, is we have not started games well, and I take responsibility for that. Whatever we are doing, we're not consistently getting our guys ready, but we were able to rebound in the second half, really on the defensive end, and did a nice job of limiting them to, I think 20-some points that second half, maybe low 30s, and able to get our offense going a little bit. It's a bit of a cliche, but when we're getting stops, we're really good offensively because I think we're a team that can get out on the break and get easy buckets. So that was, in a nutshell, basically that game. It wasn't pretty, but, never apologize for a win. I've learned that long ago.
Definitely. Then that led to the start of conference play. The team was able to make it out of the snowstorm Friday to play Jamestown. And another slow start, but you can't complain about the overall first half there.
Yeah, we did start the game slow, but we ended up going into halftime with a double-digit lead. And that's a tough place to play no matter what type of Jamestown team you're facing, but they are a team that was receiving votes nationally in the national poll to start the year, shoot the ball really well, and what we were able to do is to neutralize some of their shooters, especially in that first half. And we shot the ball very well. Again, it's one of those, I've said it all year, with 11 new guys, you're hoping, we're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way, but you're hoping that they're starting to figure it out a little bit, because when they do, it's pretty special. And this is an exceptional group. I hope we can get it figured out.
Right, so you get the win there in Jamestown, and then you go on further east, win in Mayville. How good is it to come out 2 wins in conference play early?
Yeah, it's heck of a way to start the year. Mayville is a beast of a place to play. I don't care what product they're putting on the floor. It's a difficult place to play, and this was my 3rd time playing in Mayville. And my first year we lost in double overtime, and last year we lost on a last-second shot. So I haven't had much luck there, but it was nice to first of all get 2 road conference wins and put yourself in a position to finish the first half, at home against 2 tough teams. But to do that, it says a lot about this group. We're starting to find our niche, and hopefully we can keep it going here.
Taking a look at both of those second halves on those road contests, Jamestown was able to claw back, get themselves a lead there in the second half, but your guys responded, put away a tight game, and then Mayville, the boys put it away kind of early in that second half. So touch on seeing both of those situations play out.
I think we knew Jamestown was going to make a run. Even when we were up double digits at halftime, we knew they were going to make a run, and I'm probably a natural, like most coaches, a natural pessimist. So I'm going, we know they're going to make a run. Can we sustain it? Like you said, not only can we sustain it, but can we recover and make winning plays? And that's what we did in the Jamestown game, whether it was at the free throw line, whether it was from the field, getting key stops. That was what we were able to do to see that, where we weren't able to do that at Carroll, for example, up 7 at halftime against Carroll College. They came out, took a swing at us, we never recovered. Well, we recovered from Jamestown's run, and you're gonna have to win games like that in league. You're not gonna blow everyone out, and you're not probably gonna get blown out every night. So you gotta find ways to win those close games. And then again, the Mayville situation, being able to come out and actually deliver that quote unquote knockout punch to get it to that close to that 20-point lead it's nice to see our guys put it away. And we played well against Mayville. It wasn't like it was a less superior opponent. We actually did play pretty well, and it was nice to see that, especially off the back-to-back nights, which we got to get used to in league play.
When you have two big road wins like that, lots of players could be nominated for Conference Player of the Week.
Sure.
It ended up being Jerry Shevlin. Talk about coming off the bench and providing quite a spark throughout really the season, but these last 2 games in particular.
Yeah, Jerry's someone, it's his first year in the program, but he's someone we recruited for over 2 years now to him signing here. It was a 2-year process. We knew he was a special player. I mean, he had some various Division I's looking at him out of his junior college, so we knew he was the type of caliber player he was. It was just helping him find that where he fit. He's a unique position where he appears to be a point guard, but he can really score it off the ball, and it's finding that, us helping him find his niche, and I think that's what's kind of happening right now. He was able to come out and be efficient, and his jumper was really falling, and that opens up the lanes to the basket. He's not a one-dimensional scout. He's not like a young man you can say, hey, he's a shooter, you got to make him drive it, or he's a driver, you got to play off him. It was really nice to see him get it going a little bit from an offensive standpoint and be very efficient. I think he missed 4 shots all weekend or something like
37
that.
37 points on 17 shot attempts, something like that.
Yeah, that's very efficient.
You can't beat that. But looking forward, obviously you got to put that weekend behind you, take away the positives, grow from the negatives. 2 big home contests coming up here in Scott Gymnasium in conference play. Discuss kind of what we're looking at in those games.
Yeah, Bill, we are coming off a nice weekend, but in my opinion, we got the 2 best teams in our league coming to town, in my opinion. Now, we're a very balanced league. That could change throughout the league, or throughout the year. But Bellevue is a team who's been to the national tournament, I think, 12 years in a row. They were national tournament appearance last year. Just beat a number 25th ranked team by 18 points last night. And we know what their program's about. They're a little bit like us in the regards of athleticism and some size. I don't want to say it'll be like looking into a mirror, because that's not entirely fair to either program, but it's probably going to be the most athletic team we face all year. So that'll be interesting. I don't think we've faced someone who's as athletic as us, so it'll be nice to see where we stack up against that. And again, the culture of that program, they just a little bit like when we talked about the frontier schools. When a team like Bellevue steps on the floor, they have that culture of we're expecting to win, and that's hopefully what we're climbing to. Now, Dakota State, that's a team that I personally, in my 3rd year here as the head coach, have not had much success against. They're well coached. They've won the conference tournament back-to-back years, and they are a disciplined team that has given us fits. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity to have these 2 teams on your home floor, but it's definitely, I think, in terms of conference play, one of top 2 toughest weeks for us in league play the rest of the way here.
Now, 2-0 on the year, 7-4 overall. There's plenty of reasons to come out and support this team, but from a coach's standpoint, how important is it to have a big home crowd, to have that home court advantage when you have these 2 difficult teams?
Yeah, it's paramount. It makes a difference. Our guys they're still 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They like the atmosphere. They like some enthusiasm. It's not like me where I want to go into my office and turn off the lights and shut the door. They like to perform in front of a crowd. Most young people do. And, we're an exciting team. We have the ability to be an entertaining team. It's cheaper than going to the movies, so my suggestion would come here. And, it is, because we face that on the road. It's very important, because when we go on the road, we're facing hostile environments. So it's just nice to get that return coming home. And this is, you know, you have a team coming in Friday that's never played here, as far as I understand, Bellevue University, at least in recent history. So be nice to show them a little bit what Scott Gymnasium's about.
That game is Friday night, and then come back, have a home contest Wednesday. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep,
Wednesday,
Wednesday
Dakota
night.
State, and then the 16th, Oglala, Lakota. Probably won't talk to you before then. So those are the 3 home games
Yep,
prior
those are the
to
3
the
remaining.
Christmas break.
Yep, those 3, and then it's back shortly right after Christmas, 29th and 30th.
Alrighty, Coach. Thank you for
Thanks,
joining us.
guys.
Great
Appreciate
week.
it.
Thank
Yep,
you, Coach.
thank you.
We'll be back after this with a pretty special guest from Dickinson State University.
I'm not special. Let's.
We're back on HawkTalk, and like I promised, special guest with us today, President Thomas Mitzel. It's not quite a full year, so I think up until that first year you have to go through some sort of introduction. So give the folks an idea of kind of your past, about 35-second introduction about yourself.
35-second introduction. I was born in Aberdeen, South Dakota. I got my BS at Northern State. I got a PhD at Boston College. I spent most of the last 20 years near Hartford, Connecticut. And as we got further in our career, one of the things I found was that the undergraduate degree I received in the Midwest was as good, if not better, than anywhere in the nation. And to have a chance to come back and lead an institution, the 4-year public regionals was really at the top of what I'd wanted to do. And this was a perfect opportunity. So very happy, enthusiastic, and humbled to be here.
It's December 21st, 2015 was day one. So
Correct.
Just what's it been like that first year? Some of the highs, some maybe not some of the lows, but just the experience overall.
Well, I think, you know, walking into a position where a brand new foundation had just been put in place. Ty Orton started on the same day as did myself, and watching that foundation grow from really its infancy into where it is now. And when we sat down with the board originally, we had hoped to raise about $2.5 million this year. They have raised $3.5 million. All of that is going toward student scholarships, and we want to make sure that the students who come into DSU are very stable and have the backing they need. What we did change, which I think was a very positive change, was the scholarships are now merit scholarships, and they're 4 years. So it used to be that you had to try to get a new scholarship every year.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you come in, if you're loyal to DSU, we remain loyal to you all the way through your undergraduate career. So very proud of that. I had the opportunity to sort of build the team of people with whom I work, and they always say you should surround yourself with folks brighter than yourself. I've easily been able to do that. But that's been a lot of fun as well. And when I was interviewing in September, they told me how strong was the support from Dickinson into the university. And when you're interviewing, you always figure
You hear the positives.
you hear the positives. And I will say that the support has been better than what I could ever have hoped. And it's amazing to be in Dickinson at DSU, and I would not want to be anywhere else.
Talking about the Dickinson community, you yourself have been involved in some things around the community. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think one of the great things about a city the size of Dickinson and an institution the size of Dickinson State is the synergistic relationship that you can have with the city. And for me, that's a big part. We don't want to be a university in the city. We want to be a university of the city and for the city. And we want to be a very good steward. So for me, it's just part of who I am. I like to be out. I like to be on different boards. I like to do different activities. And I'm not good at all of them, but they're always a lot of fun. Most recently, I was Santa. So
You can't come on and say
well,
that.
one of his helpers anyway.
Okay,
So that was a great deal of fun. And it's been, I continue to try to get more involved with the city and the region, and it's what we need to do. And We have 230 people working at Dickinson State University. We're just under 1,400 students now this year. We're continuing to grow, and we want to integrate everybody into the region as best as we can.
Now that might not be a direct line of thought when you're coming up with being involved in the city. That's just natural, like you say. But do you think when the state takes a look at how they're going to divvy up the money, do you think seeing such a nice relationship and an important relationship is going to potentially come back to benefit both Dickinson and Dickinson State University when it's time to hash out that budget coming up here in February?
Do you have a question? Let me get to that. Yes, I think it does. You know, Dickinson is the only four-year regional institution in the western part of North Dakota, and we have to make sure that we're very strong. And we cannot be strong if we don't get along with the city and with the region. And I think the city is much stronger getting along with us. And when the state sees those types of interactions, I think they can only be beneficial. And I also think that as we move toward our goals, they're much easier to reach if we're working together rather than apart.
Now you yourself were a student athlete. We focus a lot on athletics on this show. How do you see, what is athletics' role in higher education in your eyes?
I get a lot of questions about athletics in higher education, and in a four-year undergraduate institution, I think they're paramount. And the example I always give is Williams College is always ranked #1 in the nation for undergraduate education. 45% of their students are involved in collegiate athletics. When you bring an athlete in, they can also be a very good student, and especially at the NAIA level, you are a true scholar athlete. The athletics don't come before the academics. You have to sit in your class, you have to pass all your work, you have to get everything accomplished. But athletes can be extremely focused. They know how to work very hard. And as a president now, you have a little bit less free time. So you're getting energy out in a very positive way. So I've always been a huge advocate of athletics within the higher education.
Yeah, athletes make great students. Many of them here at Dickinson State are a part of the Theodore Roosevelt Honor and Leadership Program. Talk about the importance of that to the school and the community.
Well, the Theodore Roosevelt Honors Program brings in some of the best students in the nation. And these are the students who, if you follow our alumni and graduates of that program going back many years, they're leaders wherever they go. And for us to be able to bring them in, for them to be exposed to the Dickinson region and for the Dickinson region to be exposed to them is just beneficial to everyone. And with the new Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library coming on, we are steeped in Roosevelt history. This is a perfect place to put that. My goal is to have that honors program directly connected academically to that library, so that we're increasing our scholarship, we're increasing our outreach to not just the Dickinson community now, but really the state of North Dakota and really the entire U.S. So to have that leadership program, that's a very strong leadership program, and to have it really meaningful to the history of North Dakota means a great deal to me.
Just today on campus, I was in the library, and there was an international student program. Those are often in the library. Talk about the welcoming environment Dickinson State provides for not just your local students, but for the really a global student.
For its size, Dickinson is really one of the most diverse cities in the U.S., and I don't know that everybody understands that, and I'm not sure when it began, but I'm very glad to see that. And that's always a very inviting issue to have. It's not always easy to do. As you know, we had an issue where some of the students protested, and that hit the paper, and there was some positive feedback, some negative feedback. But one of the things I loved is, instead of putting our heads in the sand and trying to act like it didn't happen, we got everybody together, and we've now started what's called Courageous Conversations. We have another one coming up, I believe, tomorrow. Some of them are for the campus community, some of them are for the entire Dickinson region coming together. And when you have a diverse set of students and a diverse set of people living in the area, your communication is so important to make sure that we do get along. And I always say we're not really a true melting pot. Right? People hold on to their culture, and they should, because that's beneficial to everybody. We learn so much more by having that happen. But we have to be able to talk to each other. And for me, having that diversity on the DSU campus is beneficial to everybody because everyone's exposed now to multiple cultures in a very positive fashion.
Some of your main goals when you got here, you talked about students are paramount, so you went ahead and gave them 2 snow days the last week.
We ordered in 14.5 inches.
Appreciate that. Now you can make it go away now if they're going to have to keep going to school. But also, we've touched on the community relationship. What are your goals now after you've been here a year? Kind of what's next on the docket?
We have, the curriculum at DSU is very strong. What we need to continue to do are a couple of things. We need to continue to build the scholarships. I would really like to have our endowments much more set. And I want to be careful how I say this because Ty Orton has broken every goal he has set. They're doing a wonderful job, but we're very early on, and he understands that too. Over the next 5 to 10 years, we need to continue building that endowment so that we never have to worry about that again. We need to increase our enrollment. I think at 2,800, we were too large. In hindsight's 2020, so I'm not disparaging anybody by saying that now. It's easy to look back and say, well, yeah, that was too many people. We should be about 2,000. And we grew 5% last year. But what I tell people is you have to put that into context that from the fall of 2012, we were at 1,847 students in the fall of 2012. We had dropped every year. Up until this fall was our first increase since 2012, so about 5 years and or 5 rotations. So not only did we increase 5, but we stopped the fall of about 7 to 8% every year. So that's really an increase of about 12% in our student population. And what we want is to be large enough to where we can offer the diversity of curriculum that students need and offer the diversity of athletics that students need. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. So we have to continue to do that. If we get above 2,000, we're going to need new housing, and that will be an issue that we take up, luckily, past this biennium. But I really want to try to rebuild the campus community, getting students to stay on campus. We're working with the West River Community Center to work out a deal. If you stay in student housing, you get to use the West River Community Center, trying to make sure that there's a carrot for people to stay on campus, because once you get that community back on campus and get a certain number of bodies back on campus, now we really begin to act like our own small city too.
Now, kind of in wrapping, another thing we try to do on this show is to let people tell their story. You know, we have a lot of different student athletes from a lot of different paths, and they share unique stories. That's kind of what you've talked about when expressing how we're going to talk to the legislator. So, you know, potentially we could have some local legislators watching this show. What's our story, and why does that need to be continued to be supported financially from the state?
What I tell people is we're in a very important year right now. We're 100 years from the time the legislature voted into existence what was Dickinson Normal. And when they voted into existence Dickinson Normal, the first president, President May, had to go out and raise funding from the community. And he did that. He asked for $50 from whomever could give it. And it was a great way to begin the college. It has always been an institution for the city based on how it was even started. And after 100 years, if you look back, there are 2 books written on the history of DSU. And what a strong history. It's amazing what it's gone through, what it's done. We've had 4 years where things haven't gone quite as well. But as we stand really on the precipice of a new century, what we need is just a little bit of a push through this biennium, and we're going to be as strong as ever. And I tell people that all the time. In 5 years, we're going to be as strong, if not stronger, than we've ever been. And that's a testament to the community, to the faculty and staff, to the students, and we're right there. So right now, we just need a little bit of a push, and we'll be there.
All righty. Well, typically we don't turn the tables and let our guests ask us a question, but since your office is a little higher than everyone else's, do you have any questions for the hosts of HawkTalk?
One of the things I like to do, for both positive and negative, because I think even negatives can be positives, I have a very recent alum and a student. So what are your impressions of your time at DSU, and what can we do better?
All right, I'll go first. Well, since I'm a has-been, you know, my time at Dickinson exposed me to a lot of different opportunities. You know, everyone accepted me as far as if I wanted to be involved with the basketball team, despite my inability to play basketball. You know, Coach Orton at the time, and now Coach Wetzel let me be a part of the program. I was in student government. I got to see all those different things from from a worker perspective, and I feel like that's going to enable me to be successful in the future. Some negatives were just typical college kid complaints. The food got a little, but no, I think the biggest thing we need to work on, like you said, is just building that environment, making sure I had such a positive experience living in the dorms, being a resident assistant. I'd like to see as many kids as we can get that experience of those dorms filled, and just making sure everyone has the opportunity to have the same type of experience I had.
Right, coming to Dickinson, 7 hours from home, didn't know a single person that went here, and came in and was embraced, like Nate said, in the dorm life, in that community. And I think we can continue to improve on that community. But just the experiences I've had here have shaped me. Being a part of Student Senate, being a part of the golf team has given me a lot of experience that I appreciate. And Dickinson State is a place close to my heart now.
Great. And I'll just finish then, if I may, by saying the amount of input and help you gave last year, the guidance you gave, was so important into what we are now doing with the Student Center and various projects in which we're moving forward. So we really do listen. And what you're doing, both of you this year, is so important. So the students, recent alums, we always want that feedback, because it is your experience that helps us determine how best to go forward.
Thank you for joining us
My
this
pleasure.
week. Congratulations on almost a year.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations on your degree, and we'll continue to
We'll
work
get
it.
it. That does it for this week's Hawk Talk. Be sure to take part in home basketball events this weekend. We've also got some other holiday events. Be sure to check out the calendar, dickinsonstate.edu, dsubluehawks.com, and then dsuheritagefoundation.org. If you still haven't purchased your Yuletime tickets, December 10th, BAC.